Happy President's Day, everybody. Happy President's Day. Just like my Valentine's video for you guys, I want to look at, reviewing something that's president themed. And all that. And I'm hoping, I'm making the video around the same time as I did the last time. I'm hoping this time it'll actually upload on, because I had this video uploading before New Year's hit, about an hour, I think it was an hour and a half before New Year's hit. No, not New Year's hit, I mean the next day hit for Valentine's Day. I don't know why I said New Year's. My review for the Valentine's thing, the AI review I did not upload until, actually, it didn't upload, I think it took, a day or two to upload, so I'm hoping this one will at least upload before that, but we'll have to see. And you may be looking at yourself, what is this show? Look at this show, what is this show? Is that supposed to be King Koopa or Bowser? And you're right. This is Bowser, or Koopa, as he's known in the show Super Mario Bros. 3. Or I guess technically it's the Adventures of the Super Mario Bros. 3 show, based off of the Super Mario Bros. 3 game. I'm not sure which one came out first. I think this show did, because in the game, the Koopa kids have, different names. I'm not sure about Bowser. I don't know if he's called Bowser or just Koopa. Technically in this show, though, he's called Bowser Koopa. So I'm not really sure, when he was they changed his name. But just like this show in Super Mario World, they do the same thing. They for some reason use the Koopa kids' names in the actual show. Not really sure why. I kind of like both names. The TV show, their names are based off of their personalities, and all that. Except Cutie Pie. Cutie Pie is kind of, I guess not all of them. Hip and Hop, or, they're not really based off of their characteristics. But, Cheatsy is known for being cheap and cheaty, and, well, not really cheap, he does things like Mr. Krabs does, scams people out of money, but he does cheat and all to get what he wants. Bully Koopa, is bully, he's a bully and all that, and then, which is Roy, and then you got Big Mouth, who, I think his name's Morton, yeah, it's Morton in the game. He has, he talks a lot, and all that, but most of the Koopa kids are, named after something, but, yeah, I don't know why they changed some of that stuff, but, I'll go more into detail about the stuff later, because I actually did a review on the show back in the day. Of course, YouTube kind of buried it under the bus, because my channel was so small back then, but even now, I don't think it has a whole lot of reviews. You guys can maybe check out the video in the description if you want, because I'm thinking about putting it in the description for these videos, because I want to get more views on it, so people can notice my reviews more. But, yeah. But before I go any further, I know I'm already, almost 4 minutes in the video, but before I go any further, please subscribe to my channel, hit the notification bell. You guys can also support me by following me on Instagram and Twitter, and all that. And I also am starting to do DaVinci art again, too. So, yeah, I got that going again, so you guys can check out that too if you guys want. It's for an older audience, so I wouldn't recommend any of your kids watching it. It's for an older audience. I'm trying to make art for different people and all that, But yeah, I'm actually using an AI art, which and all that, which is actually the one. I think it's the one I reviewed. Yeah, it's the one I reviewed is what I'm doing. And I don't know if I'm going to continue using it. I'm going to try to find other art. I'd rather not use AI art at all, really. But right now, I'm kind of, limited to what I can do. Because there's 1,000, different, art programs out there. So, I'm kind of just going here and there. Plus, it was free. So, Yeah. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and get into the review. So you may be thinking to yourself, though, like, what does Mario have to do with, with them, presidents, because, Mario, is themed in the Mushroom Kingdom. Well, I guess it depends on what you're watching. I mean, the original show technically was based off the real world, and then you had the, Super Mario World and all that, but it's still in a fictional world, so, like, an actual fictional, like, mysterious world in the show and all that, so how could there be president stuff? Well, the thing is, though, is a lot of shows do not have President Day themed episodes much, but they do have a lot of episodes that feature around the president. And in this episode, Cutie Pie, which she is now known as Wendy, Cutie Pie. I kind of like the name Cutie Pie. I don't know, it sounds kind of interesting. Basically she's throwing a hissy fit, because, it's her 16th birthday. Yeah, her 16th, basically I think she's the oldest. I'm not sure who's the oldest. I think she's the oldest Koopaling in this show. I could be wrong. I think that's what it is. I'm not really sure. But she's like the oldest Koopaling, and all. I think in the games, I think they actually aged them up. I'm not sure about the original, but I do know, like, in New Super Mario Bros. Wii and all that came out years later, when they brought back the Koopalings, their voices are actually different. They give them, like, deeper voices. So I'm guessing they're a lot older in there, but I don't know if they changed that too or not, because they changed a lot of stuff throughout the years. Like, even the Doom Ship, which appears in this episode, is called the Airship, which, unlike the Koopa Kids' names, I think I kind of prefer it being called the Doom Ship. It just sounds a lot better than just calling it an airship. Like, why did they change it, I don't know why they just call it the freaking Doom Ship. That sounds so much better than, actually calling it the airship. I don't know, because, you could call it an airship, but I feel like calling it a Doom Ship makes more sense. Not only the name sounds more catchy, but also it verifies that you are in trouble if you see this ship, because you got Bowser / Koopa here, like, attacking people. So I really don't know why they changed it. I prefer it being called that, but no, they changed it to the airships for some reason. And I don't know when they changed it, but I do know that's kind of what they call it now, which I don't know why, but yeah, but basically because Koopa, here's the thing, Koopa, is scared of his daughter. Instead of, spanking his daughter or telling her to go to her room, like a good parent would, he instead spoils the crap out of her and actually, uses, and actually uses, the Doom Ship, to, take over the White Castle, which is where the whole President's thing comes in right now. The President's Day thing, what comes in right now. There's actually another episode I could have reviewed. I thought about reviewing it last year, but I kind of forgot about it. I'll review it at the end of November, or around November, because that's when elections, usually happen. Now technically, the election is already over, but I know people are kind of split on the election stuff, so I'll probably just review it like around the time when elections are normally supposed to be happening, so that way people aren't thinking about election stuff too much, but that'll be for a while, but that's another episode. But in this episode, they don't do that, but they do focus on the president, because Koopa takes off with the White House and teleports it to his kingdom and all that, which is Darkland, I kind of like Darkland. I don't know, it's kind of cool and all that. A Darkland, it's not like, the typical lava and all that you see, in every other Mario game, it's different. Now, technically, Bowser has had, some different castles in different areas. I mean, he had, in, like, there's an, New Super Mario Bros. DS, his castle, well, his first castle, he has, like, two different castles in that world, but, he has that first castle, you fight him in, and he's, like, in an area where it's, kind of like Darkland, where it's all spooky-ish and dark-looking, and with, like, not a lot of lava. There's, like, lava in this castle, but that's pretty much about it, and then you got the typical lava castle afterwards, which where we know he's at a lot now these days. I like that they actually changed up his, they have him in a different land, Or I think it's Darkland. I'm not sure. Well, that's the thing, though. It's Darkland, but there's another episode where, like, Luigi, talks about how it's, like, mentioned that it was his old kingdom. Like, it mentions it's his old kingdom. So I'm not really sure. Why they. I'm not sure, like, if maybe he moved to a different area. I don't know, or they decided to call it something else. But I'm pretty sure throughout the entire show they call it Darkland. So maybe it's another Darkland. I don't really know. I think it's kind of weird though. I mean, there could be more than one, city or town or kingdom or something, like the same name, that can happen sometimes, but it seems kind of weird, later down the road, Luigi in this music episode where they find a music box, he mentions that's Koopa's old kingdom and all that, so I'm not really sure why that is, but I do like how he attacks Princess Toadstool and all, kidnaps them and all that, and that's how he takes over the White House and all that, which, by the way, I want to point out, this is kind of something very weird, but very funny at the same time. Like, well, number one, like, how the hell is the president not freaking out or anything like that? He's not freaking out or anything when there's the White House getting taken away by a giant lizard with a floating ship in the sky. I figure like he'd be a little bit more concerned. He's too busy on his phone, I guess, which in today's world, yeah, I see a lot of people on their phones. I mean, I'm on my phone, but I'm not on my phone all the time. I mean, I am sometimes, but there's people that are literally blinded by their phones when I see them out walking on the streets and all that. I'm like, pay attention to where you're walking because you're going to get hit by a car, But this guy's just literally talking on the phone. He's not even looking at his phone. So I'm like, how the hell can he not see, what's going on and all that? Even his wife does, which is, this is the other funny thing. Like, his freaking wife is like, freaking, like, super old. Like, she's way older than him, which is really crazy. But also, something to point out here, technically something to point out here, that this is the president, this show came out around the time when President, Bush was in office. Not George W. Bush, but his father, the original George Bush. He was in the office around this time, I was trying to look at it, like, was he in office before? I think he was in office around 1989. Is when he first became in the office. So when the original show came out, he was in office. But in this episode, when it came out in the 1990s, you see up here, basically he was already in office. So they already had elections and all that, I guess. But it just seems kind of weird, it seems kind of weird how this kind of, like, how he doesn't even look like himself. I think it's maybe a different president, I'm not sure. Because back in the day, they kind of didn't always use real presidents. I'm not really sure why. I guess they didn't want to, interfere with that kind of stuff. I'm not sure why, why didn't they just use actual George W. Bush? I mean, it's kind of cool seeing different characters as, are completely different looking presidents, but it just seems kind of weird, But especially since, Family Guy and all of that, and The Simpsons, did that kind of stuff. They parodied the Simpsons, they parodied all this stuff. The Simpsons came out in 1989 too, which was it also the same year that George W. or not George W. Bush, George Senior Bush, got elected. So it's very weird. It's very weird. I don't understand it, and all that. But there's a lot of stuff you could question about this episode. But I do like though how we get to see Mario in his frog suit, and I like the song too that plays. We get a song too that plays, throughout the like him swimming through the water. The songs in this show are actually really good. Now I will point this out. When I was little, I kind of didn't really like having the songs constantly play throughout the entire episodes. I mean, they were good songs, a lot of them were, but my problem was, is I kind of wanted just to watch the episodes and have the characters speak. But I don't know, but I kind of liked the songs and all. I kind of grew to like them over time. When I was little, I didn't really like the songs. I liked the songs, but I didn't like them interrupting the show. But now I kind of like them, because a lot of shows kind of do this. Even What's New Scooby-Doo did that, when they will, have random songs interrupt the show. And I'm like, I want to watch the show. I don't want to listen to, random songs like that. But, there are characters that sing, but if I want to hear the characters sing, I want to hear them actually sing, not have random people in the background, doing it. It just seems kind of weird. But I do like the song, the Do the Frog song. It's pretty catchy. And it's pretty nice. I will say, too, I do want to point this out, too. Somehow Mario is able to replumb him everything and, get the White House back up, to the top, which is impressive. But then apparently they're now going to be interfering with Brooklyn and all that, because Cutie Pie is now the president, she's the president. And, because she took over the, which I don't understand how the hell she took over the country. I'm like, can't people just freaking turn against her? I guess to be fair, she was turning people into stone and all that, but I'm like, there's a freaking billion people in the U.S., I don't know how the population was back in the day, but I'm sure it was still at least a billion or something like that, I'm pretty sure they could probably, freaking force her out of office, but, impeach her or something, but I don't care. It's still pretty interesting. But apparently Princess Toadstool, who, by the way, is Princess Peach, but her name's Princess Toadstool. Actually, they kept her name, Princess Toadstool. Unlike the Koopa Kids, they kept her name for a long time, because even in Super Mario... Even in, Super Mario 64, her name was still Princess Toadstool. It was Princess Toadstool Peach. So, I guess her first name is Princess Toadstool and her last name is Peach. So, I guess they took them a while to change it. I'm not sure if it's still called Princess Toadstool in other countries. I just know up here it's called, she's just called Princess Peach now. But apparently she's talking about how Mario and Luigi are the only ones that can stop, Koopa from taking over the real world. I'm like, every time I watch the episode, I'm like, what the hell? I'm like, what the hell? Why can't you help them out? Why do they have to go by themselves? I don't get it. I don't really get why, that kind of always upset me when I was younger. I'm like, you lazy cow, why don't you go out there and help them out, you were helping them up to this point, and I guess because they're interfering with Brooklyn, it's up to Luigi and Mario to go save the day. Even Toad doesn't go, Toad doesn't freaking go either, so I'm like, why do they do that, why do they, make it where Princess Toadstool doesn't go too, why did she say it like that? That just sounds so freaking weird and cringe. It's not super cringe, but it just seems out of nowhere. They do this a lot in this show. They'll separate Mario and Luigi from Princess Toadstool and Toad. They will do that a lot. I actually have an episode I'll review down the road, too. I actually have quite a few planned for this year. Out of the 26 episodes, because, there's 26 episodes. I have another one planned talking about that, but yeah, I'm just like, I don't really get it, I don't really get why they have it like that, but again, it just seems kind of like out of nowhere, but I do like the part where Mario and Luigi, dress up as Hammer Bros. They dress up as Hammer Bros and all that, and then they go like, and I like how like Luigi's like calling out Mario. Well, I mean Mario, like telling Mario like, "Are you sure these disguises are gonna work?" And Mario, does his typical, thing and all that, like, where he's like, "Of course they'll work," and all that. Like, I kind of like that. And then Luigi immediately turns all pissed at Mario. I'm like, I don't be mad at Mario. Mario was trying his best to disguise him. But I do like how their disguises don't fool the Hammer Bros and all that. Which, by the way, I'll say this. I'll say this. I mean, I do I will talk more about the original Super Mario Brothers show down the road. But I do want to point this out, that I like the minions more in this show than I do the original. In the original, they're all stupid and all that. They all their personalities kind of blend together. I kind of like them more in this show. Yeah, I mean, they had some funny moments in the original show too, but I kind of like them more in this show, because in the original show, if they were in disguise, like if Mario was in disguise like that, I'm sure they probably would have fell for it, because they were idiots. But in this show, the enemies are a lot smarter, so they realize, that Mario and Luigi are like imposters, and I really like that, And I like too how we get to see Cutie Pie get zapped back up there, and then Bowser, slash Koopa's, ship gets destroyed and all that, or Doom ship and all gets destroyed, and then like Cutie Pie starts calling him out, and then probably the best part of the episode is the ending, where he literally yells at her and tells her to go to her room, and yeah, and I like that. I like that he tells her to go to her room and all that, like, and that's what he needs to do. He needs to call him out. I'm not rooting for Bowser too much because he's evil, but I'm like, you can't just let your freaking kid tell you what to do and all that. That's not how it works. If your kid's gonna talk back to you, tell him to go to their room, or ground them, I wouldn't say probably spank them, because I don't know. I don't think spanking, is really the best thing, in my opinion. I think you could just ground them, because, spanking them, I feel like can make you feel more aggressive, like grounding them, you don't feel as much anger, when you spank your kids, it just makes you, makes your tense up, it makes your body more tensed up, but, but yeah, I'm like when I was younger, I kind of did that with my siblings. I was told I could spank them and all. I did, and I was like, I really didn't care for my siblings too much. Like, I kind of don't care for them as much now either. But I will say, because I do have some problems with them. I mean, they do treat me better. Well, most of them do. I mean, Keegan doesn't, but my mom's siblings treat me better. But even I'm still like, they can still be real pains to deal with and all that, but like I talked about my stories about going trick-or-treating and all that, and how I had all this problem, and yeah, I don't know, but I still wouldn't like spank him and all that. I don't think that's probably a good idea, but yeah, I do like seeing Koopa call him out and all. It's pretty nice, and also he causes like bricks to come out of his wall. So he's probably gonna take the whole castle down. I mean, he must be like super strong or something, but he's able to stop his foot like that. But yeah, I don't know, but this episode's got a lot of great moments. Besides the whole part of again, I think, well, Well, I would say there are some, nitpicks. Like, I feel like, again, the president is sitting in his office. Like, I feel like all he's doing is talking on the phone throughout the entire episode. And doesn't have a reaction. It's kind of stupid. And his wife being somehow way old. I mean, to be fair, I guess in real life, I've heard people have married people way older than that. But then you got Princess Toadstool, like, telling Mario and Luigi that they're the only ones that can do this and that, and I'm like, that's kind of stupid, and all that. But for the most part, this episode's really good. I really like it. Definitely one of my favorites of this series. I mean, I guess there's a lot of good episodes in this series, but this is one of the better ones. I'm gonna go ahead and say it deserves a good, and then I'm gonna give it 120 points. Yeah, this episode definitely deserves 120 points. Definitely a really good episode. I really like it. It definitely had, I like how it's featured around the president himself and all that, even though, like I said, he doesn't do a whole lot in the episode. I still think there's enough stuff in this episode to still make it 120. I mean, there are a little bit of problems with it, but not enough to where I think it deserves 100 or something. I think it barely, gets over 120. I think I do have some problems with the president not being involved himself, but there are still a lot of great moments in this episode. But anywho, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let things go from here. We'll see if this video uploads on YouTube or not. If it doesn't, I'll have to figure out something. But anywho, bye-bye.